3Z plus.
Well, that's what we call it in English.
I like that.
It shows up as Roman numeral 3, so I, Z. Z is for zither, plus is for the percussion. Okay. So those three I's look like the instruments in a sense, but I chose the name to function almost like a hanja. Because when you use a hanja, you can say it in Japanese, Chinese, Korean in a native way, right? So I wanted to choose a name, since none of us share any native tongue and we're living all over the world, I wanted a name that could be said in a different way in every country. So in German it's like 3Z plus, and in France it's 3Z whatever, I don't speak French.
So they're all very similar in the way that they end up being pronounced.
Well, but all different. You can say it in a native way. So English would be 3Z plus, German is 3Z plus.
Right. Whatever language you're coming from,
like
you can read it, right?
Yes, in your own way, in your own language. Okay. It didn't work very well, though.
It's still, I would assume it's still going to be a little difficult because of going back and forth between
the Asian countries always want to use the English. That's just period. So it works in Europe, but it didn't work in Asia. But so with that group, I have a music festival that I started in 1999 in Alaska. And
you have your own music festival?
Yeah, it's a new music festival that has a lot of Asian
When does this happen every year? Is it annual or?
Annual. Well, it's even more than annual, but right now it's annual, and it's in the summertime. And last year, the project that we did was my string quartet and a Western string quartet. And we were looking exactly at these differences between Asia and of course, my quartet is artificial, right, in the sense that I created it. It didn't exist before I created it.
Right.
So it's
those instruments don't always play together.
They never play together.
Yeah, they never play together.
But nevertheless, there it is, a plucked string quartet, and you could find a plucked string ensemble in East Asia, just a more organic one than I made.
Right.
But the string quartet, of course, is sort of the quintessential Western chamber ensemble, right? 2 violins, viola, and cello. And we're doing a project together, which we started a long time ago, but we finally got it together for the first time in Alaska last year. And we were really looking at these questions like, what does it mean to pluck a string in East Asia? What does it mean to pluck a string in the West? What does it mean to bow a string or to sustain a note in the West versus East Asia, and how those things...
To sustain a note.
Means to, like a violin, you sustain.
I'm supposed to help translate this stuff a lot of the time, but sustain a note. How do you translate that? Yeah.
계속 연주하는 거. 계속 소리 나오는
한
거.
노트를 계속 나오도록 하는 거. Yes, okay. To sustain a note can be different among different cultures?
Well, you can think about it differently, right? What it means to do that. And how you should shape that, right? In the East, we often think about musical notes in terms of calligraphic strokes, actually. So you know how when you write...
In the writing system.
Right, so if you write the number 1, right, just 하나, 일, it's sort of fat on... Because when you use a brush, you sort of put your brush down, and then it's kind of thins out in the middle, and then you put your brush down again, right? So a note can also be thought about in that way, and people often do compare it directly to calligraphy. Nobody does that in the West. Or nobody compares it to, Asian calligraphy.
Right. Get strong on the beginning.
Even if we play it the same way, it's never philosophically compared in that way. So I think the ways that people think about how things should be shaped and...
Understanding these attitudes and things like that.
Are different.
Very different. Let's move on. You've been in Korea for quite a long time now, and you've gotten your degree in Asian studies as well from Harvard. So now that you've been here so long, though, how long have you been living in Korea and teaching at Beijing University now?
That's 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And what department are you in?
I'm in the international studies. It's a 한국말로 국제학부.
Okay.
영어로 Appenzeller School of Global Business.
Oh, really? Okay. And it's kind of an international studies department. Classes are in English or in Korean?
Classes are in English.
Okay.
Students are Korean.
Right. And do you teach Gayagum there?
Well, it's an interesting question because when I first started teaching there, and of course the students didn't know anything about Gayagum or 국악, and I gave a special lecture in order to help them along with my interests.
Okay, yeah.
Before there wasn't that much interest, but they all were forced to come to the lecture, of course. And after the lecture, 7 students came to me and said that they really wanted to study Kayagam. They didn't know how great it could be, and they never really heard it before.
Our teacher's wonderful. Yeah.
So at that point, one of the schools near Daejeon, it's a traditional culture school, 전통문화학교. They sent over 7 broken Kayagams.
7 broken Kayagam?
This is an English
Did you fix
teaching.
them yourself?
No, but here's an English teaching point for your viewers.
Good.
For foreign words in English, like Kayagam, you don't add an S on the end to pluralize them.
No.
So I just said Kayagams. It's a mistake in English. It just should be 7 Kayagam.
7 Kayagam.
So there's 2 makers, and I've been usually working with the maker in Seoul since I lived in Seoul before. But there's a maker in Jeollabuk-do, and there's also a maker in Daejeon. So I sent the Kayagam down to he's the other 인간문화재, the national intangible human cultural asset.
Oh, what number is he?
I don't know what number
We don't know his number.
I don't know what number. There's 2. There's one in Seoul and one down there. So
Okay.
I sent the Kayagam to him over the summer.
Yeah.
So I have yet to go pick them up. But once I pick them up, I think I will have 7 college students and 1 junior high school student.
Oh. And so this course is going to be starting this semester, huh?
Yes, it'll be Peije University is quite interesting for me to be teaching there because Peije University used to be Peije Hakdang. It's now Peije 대학교 in Daejeon, but original is Peije Hakdang in Seoul. And it's one of maybe the oldest school in Korea.
Oh.
Started by Henry Appenzeller, one of the early missionaries. And this is where Western music started. It's the first Western music department in Korea.
Really?
So, and they've kept that tradition alive, and they have a music department, but they only teach Western music at Peije University. It's a Christian school.
Okay.
And so I'm the first one who's bringing Korean music to Peije University.
To Peije University.
I think they had another Kayagam player who's teaching sort of on the side there, but
Is it a official course for credit?
No, it won't be.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe later.
Maybe later.
Maybe we can start teaching it for credit later.
Exactly.
Good. And we talked about some of the Western influences in music. How about life in Korea? How do you find some of the Western influences? I hear you have some positive and negative